Hey guys, I just wanted to give you my review of Legends of Tomorrow, Season 1, Episode 4, White Knights. Now, at the time of recording this video, this episode had already leaked online because this episode apparently aired in Canada less than a week earlier. So I'm basically getting to give my thoughts about the whole... I'm basically just going to record it now, just give my thoughts about the episode. And the nice thing about this episode is that it feels like the team is being much more cohesive and working together. It's like there's not all these like side missions that don't relate to one another. It's just basically, or they're more at least everything that's going on is more interrelated. So when they go to 1986, they have to get files on Vandal Savage, which have been covered up by the U.S. government, and so it turns out to get those files, the group has to break into the Pentagon, and disguised as janitors, Ray and Snart, the latter is able to pickpocket one of the female soldiers and get her key card and pass it off to Sarah, who's being accompanied by Kendra, is able to get access to the information, and Firestorm is working on disabling the cameras, and there's this like literal inner conflict between Jackson Stein, in which Jackson says, "Let me do things my own way," but it causes them to set the alarm, and even though McRoy tries to set a diversion, it ends up with Kendra and Sarah getting into a fight with some of the soldiers, and Kendra going into a berserker rage similar to Sarah's bloodlust rage and nearly clawing at one of the soldiers, and then Firestorm has to create a distraction in which he has created a distraction and grabs Kendra, and everybody has to run back to the ship, and so Rip decides to have Sarah trained Kendra under the guise that basically he was hoping that Sarah would they would both find a balance in which Sarah had to re-embrace her humanity and conquer her bloodlust, and while Kendra had to re-embrace her more warrior side in order to face off against Savage and his forces. And so, but they ultimately end up traveling to when they're traveling to the Soviet Union, they're being tailed by Kronos. But they also have like a Soviet fighter jet, I guess, where the Soviet missiles are shot at the Wave Rider. Rip shuts off the engines in order to take a nosedive, and so the missiles hit Kronos' ship. And so they basically have to, and so Rip sends Ray and Snart to go meet this Russian woman working on a project for Vandal Savage. And Ray tries to flirt with her and tries to come off as a student and ask bluntly about the project, and she scoffs him off, and then Snart comes in, having to basically woo her and flirt with her and treat her to the ballet, and she even offers to sleep with Snart, but he rejects the offer, and it turns out Ray's literally left standing out in the cold, and Snart was able to get the woman's key card. So while they're training, also while Sarah and Kendra are training, Kendra's able to, let out her wings and her berserker rage, but then of course Sarah gives into her bloodlust and nearly kills Kendra and doesn't want to train anymore. And their storyline basically concludes with Sarah learning the true purpose of why Rip had Sarah train Kendra, and Kendra decides to, I think he also tells Kendra about it too, I don't remember. But basically that's what gives Kendra the resolve to start training again and motivate Sarah to continue the sparring again. And I think there's also is confronted by Rip is also confronted in a forest by one of the Time Masters and tries to give him an ultimatum that says to return to the Vanishing Point with him and he'll be acquitted of any charges, as well as his team will return to their times and be acquitted of any charges and damage to the timeline, and the timeline will be repaired, etc., etc. But Nick Roy had accompanied him for reconnaissance and tells them that the guy that the Time Master is probably just going to kill Rip. Rip listens and takes Mick's advice, and because Kronos survived the crash and has Rip at gunpoint, since they're both going to kill him, but then Mick and Firestorm come to the rescue, but because of Jax's recklessness, I guess Kronos is able to use a bomb. I guess like a bomb is able to separate Jax and Stein, and Jax ends up being injured and having to be taken to the medical bay of the Wave Rider, and Stein lashes out at him for his actions and comes down on him pretty hard, and he basically Stein confides in Ray that the reason why he was so hard on him was he has like survivor's guilt for when Ronnie killed himself when they separated inside that wormhole at the beginning of season 2 of The Flash, and he doesn't want the same thing to happen to Jax. And the next mission is to go to the lab where Stein finds out that the woman is working on a thermonuclear core, another version of the Firestorm Matrix, so Vandal Savage can have his own army of Firestorms. And Stein decides, because he, as part of the Firestorm Matrix, to try to absorb the thermonuclear core, he's forced to do it while the core is still running because the woman has Snart at gunpoint and coerces Ray to reactivate it in order to save Snart's life. And even though he's able to absorb the core, Stein, it leads to the scuffle where Rory, Stein, and Ray are all captured by Soviet Union soldiers and imprisoned in the Gulag, I think. And then Stein wants to shoot Rip, asking saying that he has a code that none of the rogues get left behind, and Rip questions him, saying, "What would have you done in this situation?" And Cold responds saying that he would have done the same thing, and now they're in a predicament where Stein's going to be forced to work on the thermonuclear core since Snart grabbed the original one, and now they have to and apparently they're going to use Ray and Rory as leverage to force Stein to work on the core. So overall, it's a very good episode. It's probably the best episode thus far. It seems like it's starting to really, it's more solid, better, the best written episode. Like, okay, it has like a sense of confidence in itself that the other 3 episodes didn't have, and I'm interested to see how it concludes next week. So what do you guys think of the episode? Is there anything I forgot to talk about? Leave it in the comments down below. If you like this video, like, share, and subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Take care.